Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Professionally Unprofessional podcast. I'm Calvin Atkinson, joined once again by my good friends Reese and Elliot.
Hello, everyone.
What up? We're the sick boys.
Literally.
Literally, because Elliot's just recovered and Reese is fighting his illness right now.
Yeah, I'm coming out of an illness. He's entering his.
And for the record,
it was all because I had to interact with filthy Pokemon players.
Yeah, no, Reese.
You know what that means? Calvin's next.
Yeah, Reese caught it while we were coming back from the Pokemon competition in Holland.
Yeah.
So,
Cal, that's not the country.
The Netherlands, then.
There you go.
I swear I've heard Dutch people call it Holland, though. I swear I have heard that somewhere.
Cal, you're one of us who watches Eurovision religiously. You should know what the country's called.
Oh, don't.
Yes, all the way back from the land of Tom Holland.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. That was such a depressing Eurovision this year. But let's get on with the actual Let's get on with the actual topics we're going to talk about, because we've got a few games to talk about, and to the news item, we thought we were done. We had late breaking news this morning.
Yeah.
So we recorded it. So we're going to discuss some of that. We'll start with, if you've read the thumbnail, you'll know the two games that we're going to take a good chunk, because we have of this podcast. So we're going to start with the first one. The first two we're going to talk about are the two games that have the highest Metacritic score of the year so far. And we'll start with the first one, which I believe is top of the list at the minute. Clair Obscura, Expedition 33. It came out. I'm playing the Xbox version via Game Pass. Elliot, which version are you playing?
I'm currently playing the Steam version because I actually like supporting game developers.
And I'm going to challenge you on that one. Reese, sorry.
Nope.
I have gone ill. I'm messing people up. Reese, you haven't been playing this, have you?
No, I've not.
I will say I'll buy a copy when we get to Game Awards season, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be nominated in a few categories already.
Well, if it's not the agenda later, we do have the PlayStation Stars news, which is going to affect me, because I could use my points right now to buy it.
Oh, yes, of course, because we can talk about that later. PlayStation Stars is shutting down.
Yep.
Save it for the news item. Don't fucking just spoil everything.
No, actually,
we need the viewers to watch all of this.
No,
well, it's tied into Cal's point about Clair Obscura.
So here's the fact. Okay, so we got the thing recently. Elliot, I will stress, if you get it on Game Pass, if a company's got a Game Pass deal, particularly an indie company, they've made back most of their development costs just through that Game Pass deal.
I mean, arguably, yeah, because from what I remember, the cost for the game was actually really cheap.
Yeah, and that surprises me, because
I cannot stress how instead of a success story this is. Just like you were bragging, you're constantly going on about how Astro Bar's so good despite having 70 people working on it. This had 30.
Yeah, everything about this game really shocked me, because it's not coming.
Yeah.
The budget for it is not as high as I was expecting, considering how gorgeous it looks.
Yeah, holy shit.
It's
about it's apparently under 40 million it costed.
Which if you compare that with another indie game that was designed to look really good, the Callisto Protocol, that one spent 100 million on that game, and that was way too much for an indie studio to spend on their first game.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting with this, and one of the things I'll say in terms of how it looks, this is a non-spoiler, and really you do need a spoiler alert in case you do this game, because it does have a very winding narrative with a couple of twists in.
There's a ton of stuff that happens in this game.
But in one of the very first scenes you do, they have a scene that has no dialogue. That pretty much has no dialogue in it. And it's so well conveyed with just how the characters look at each other. And all that emotion is right there. And I was like, I'm amazed how good the motion capture looks in this.
Jesus Christ.
I reckon a lot of that money went to the cast, because you look at the cast, you got Ben Starr, Charlie Cox,
Andy Serkis.
who's probably given one of his best performances since those Planet of the Apes films.
Yeah.
I stand by that. I think this is his best performance since Planet of the Apes.
Oh wow.
And I thought he should have been nominated for an Oscar for Planet of the Apes. Okay, so, but of course, it's a turn-based RPG.
We haven't actually gotten into our opinions on it yet. Usually we ask what we think about it. We haven't actually talked about that yet.
Oh, yeah, earlier. What's your opinion on Clair Obscura?
Fucking amazing!
I agree.
Holy shit, this game is so fucking good.
Okay, I don't think I'm as enamored with it as you, but I still think this is one of the best RPGs that's come out in several years.
I think it's one of the best RPGs ever.
But I think here's the thing. I think I liked Metaphor more.
Honestly, disagree.
I'll tell you.
Fight.
Metaphor is great, but this game just so much unique stuff, and I just love every bit of it.
Yeah, the dodge parry mechanic is quite good. I didn't appreciate they added an extra mechanic like 10 hours into the game where I was going, oh, just learned all this stuff. Now you've added a fourth mechanic. Don't add another.
The game's constantly introducing like mechanics, and you think it would be like it would be difficult to remember everything, but the game does it in a way where it's like super easy to know which mechanic works where.
Yeah, you do, and you do eventually learn those enemy movement patterns, so you can do those perfect dodges and those parry. I don't parry a lot because I don't like the timing is a lot less forgiving than they are for dodges.
Yeah, I definitely parry stuff when I'm able to, and like I dodge first to like learn the enemy paths, but then I start parrying just because. Yeah, you get way more benefits from that.
I'm not sure I really like the souls aspect they brought to it with like the limited healing items.
Oh no, I think that's fine.
I'm not a fan of it. I'm not saying I think it's a bad mechanic. I'm just saying I'm not a fan of it personally.
In all fairness with me, I rarely ever use them. Most of your allies have like some form of healing.
Yeah, but I find they barely ever work, or you barely ever have the AP to use them.
Yeah, that's kind of where the pictos come in. It's because the ones I have ones that give me an extra AP whenever I do a standard attack, and I have one that lets me do 2 standard attacks in a row.
Okay, so I should point out the pictos. I haven't got those pictos yet. I should explain. Me and Elliot aren't finished with the game yet. Though he's much further than me.
I'm pretty much. I think I'm on the final boss.
Though the pictos are kind of like in place of equipment. You get like 3 of them, and they directly affect the gameplay. So there was one
and you need to do. And what I really like is that you only need to do a few fights, and you've mastered them, and you're pretty much able to equip them to every character.
Yeah. So there was one I quite liked called the SOS shell, which when your health goes below 50%, it casts shell.
Yeah, I used that one quite. That one quite a bit.
There was one that was a disaster, and I didn't realize how much of a disaster it was equipping it until I'd actually read it properly, which was the one roulette, which it really significant. It gives you a chance of either significantly decreasing damage or significantly increasing damage, and I swear the percentage is more an increase because it made one of my characters a total damage, just one-hit KOs constantly.
Yeah, I don't think I ever equipped any of the ones that had negatives as well as positives. I just did all the mid ones.
I do think the one game it reminds me of with how different the different character mechanics are is Final Fantasy X. Like Final Fantasy X is very similar in that regard of when you're picking a character formation, you've got to think about what the character's role is as a and they have different sort of gameplay mechanics in some regard.
Yeah, I also think about like what moves work well with each combination. Like as an example, when I have Mael out, I have to try and pick a character who inflicts burning to enemies, so I can activate her virtuosa stance really quickly. Or whenever CL's out, I often have Lunea out at the same time because CL has a move that deals burning to fire damage and burning to everyone.
Yeah,
and CL's ability like inflicts foretell on one of the attacks inflicts foretell on everyone who's burning. And God, it's something I really love. Like I think more about the added benefits from each of the moves rather than the amount of damage the moves are doing.
So I agree, and one of the things I gave Mael, I gave her that ability that means it does a little bit of low fire damage, but puts her in the offensive stage and makes enemies weak to fire for 2 turns. So that meant you could do that combo, and it's an enemy that in fact, one of the bosses that resisted fire damage, I was able to turn it into a weakness with that ability.
That's it.
So it does the level of and some of these bosses will take you a few goes. Like there was that one that I told you.
Some of these bosses are tough.
Yeah, there was that one I told you that I was struggling with, and I sort of noticed something. I thought, hang on, I sort of remembered I had the shooting mechanic in the game. And I thought, I bet you I could shoot those and stop a couple of those things and stop a couple of those attacks, and it worked on that occasion. So that gave me more time to build a pattern for dodging, and then I realized, oh
yeah,
right,
I didn't know you could do that during that fight. I just learned the lantern's fire projectile timings.
And then the second phase they turn it into a puzzle fight, which again is a cool mechanic.
Yeah, this game reminds me so much of Persona 5 with the menu layouts and the whole gun mechanics, but I think it takes a number of these things a step further.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like taking all these ideas from games like Final Fantasy, like Persona, like and it's saying, why can't we take it just that little bit further? Why can't we just say, why not try this idea out? And I also say Final Fantasy X was the one it really reminded me of a lot, because the theme of death is very prevalent throughout the game, which is very similar.
My god, the story and the lore and whole world building, it's so done so fucking well.
But and that's the thing about it as well. It's so well acted as well. The acting in this is so good.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Starr's just using this Clive voice, which is never a complaint.
Yeah, no, Ben Starr, I think he doesn't know how to do any. It's funny to me that Ben Starr does these incredibly dramatic roles, and yet when he's in his free time and just on the internet, he's basically just being a massive goofball.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I really love about him.
Yeah, because also don't forget he also the advert for Balatro is the clown.
Yes, he turned up at the BAFTAs. Because the creator,
which I thought was great.
Because the creator,
I find it funny that after one game with Final Fantasy 16, he went from someone no one heard about to now this really big star in voice acting.
Well, yeah. I'd say it's.
I just love that. I'm so happy for his success. He deserves it.
I'm so. What I'd love is if he turned up on a Magic the Gathering show and did a Clive deck. We're using his Clive voice.
Oh well, he's already. We've already seen pictures of him wearing the Clive t-shirt with the Clive Magic the Gathering card on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I also think props to Charlie Cox, because his performance in this thing is staggeringly good.
Yeah, I just find it funny as well that the director of this game came up with the idea of it because he was bored working at Ubisoft.
Yeah, that's where it's.
I think it's just kind of funny. Holy shit! There's now a good French game developer.
So yeah, I'd say there's actually a few, because I've played a bunch of very good indie games from France. So I think if you there's a really good one called Dodonia, I believe it's pronounced. I probably pronounced it, but it's almost done. It's a game that's designed to look like it's entirely done through watercolored paintings.
Oh
damn!
That sounds nice.
That sounds. It sounds a lot like another game that came out years ago. I can't remember the name of it.
If you want to try it, it's actually on Game Pass. So, and I believe it's also on PlayStation Plus as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the developers.
I don't have Game Pass. You need to keep remembering this.
Yeah, I'm saying, but some people listening will know might be on Game Pass.
Carl, nobody listens to this. We don't listen to this after we record it.
Incidentally, here's one I'm wondering now. How do you think the sales figures have done? So the sales figures have done very well for this game. presumably most of that was through Steam and PlayStation, because obviously this went to Game Pass day one.
Yeah, it sold. It sold 1 million copies in the first 3 days.
That staggered me because this came out the same week as another game we're going to talk about, and we all thought when that game Shadow dropped that it was going to completely supplant the conversation about this one. It seems to have gone the.
You thought that? I never thought that for a second.
There was definitely an opinion of that on Twitter that I spotted, but it obviously didn't happen because this game became a massive part of the conversation. Do you think that was due to the gameplay mechanics, the story, or
Voice cast?
Or the voice cast?
I think everything.
I think because for a person who's not played this game, I've seen a lot of people jump into it just because of Ben Starr and Charlie Cox.
Yeah,
and enjoying it that way.
All right.
I think the marketing for this game also was incredibly good. They actually did a very good job with the marketing department. And I think that's where the Game Pass deal probably did help. I think Xbox really got behind this game and let people know this thing was coming out.
Yeah. I mean, their showcase was how we first heard about this game.
Yeah. It really does. And I think for a first-time studio to do this, I know they've all worked at Ubisoft before this, but but they're on their own with this one, and to come up with this is an astounding achievement. I mean, if they don't get if there's not that much recognition for this at the end of the year in terms of like awards from like the Golden Joysticks or the BAFTAs, anything like that, as far as I'm concerned, they've made an hell of an achievement.
I think this is absolutely going to get like a lot of achievements by the end of the year.
I think it will. Yeah,
I say this is probably going to be this year's Baldur's Gate 3.
I'm not going to go that far because I think there's other games that are coming out that might supplant it.
I honestly don't think so. This is like a very art housey game.
I put it this way. I wouldn't say that I think that's an impossibility, but there's a couple of things I want to see yet to come out.
I don't think at the end it's going to be on the same level as Baldur's Gate 3 was, but I think if we're talking about a game that will reach a similar level of acclaim this year, I think this is going to be it.
Yeah, well, if it wants to break the record for the most number of game awards, it has to win 8. Which, because the record is 7, which is held by Last of Us Part 2. Okay, so the next game
it's just quickly. It currently from critics it has 92. From users it has 9.7.
9.7. That surprises me a little bit because I know there was a bit of. I thought this one was getting review bombed by the
English.
The usual bastards on the internet who complain about everything.
Well, that's surprising because there's actually been a rift in the right-wing community over this game. Because a lot of the prominent figureheads have actually enjoyed the game, and that's caused their fan base to turn on them.
Yeah, because
it's been hilarious.
Which is so. I mean, it's hilarious. It happened, but I remember there was a lot of right-wing commentators having to go at the game when it first came out, and I was like, oh, gee, no. Can I go one release without these bastards messing up my timeline?
Why do you think I'm off Twitter?
That's
why do you think I go on? Why do you think I don't go on that shit anymore?
Well, to be fair, it has also spread to YouTube.
Yeah.
Not on my circle.
That's where a large part of it is now. Yeah.
So
especially if you go to the front page, Ali, it's there a lot.
It's
not for me. Why are you guys following right-wing people on YouTube?
We're not. It just shows
that's
up.
The point. We're not.
We're not. The algorithms just seem to push the shit forwards.
Because people have done experiments creating a brand new, fresh YouTube account, not search anything, and it's been on the front page, recommended.
It's so there is some shit going on there. But let's go to the next game we're talking about, which didn't get that shit, and it's also it's equal to at the time I last checked, it was equal to Clair Obscura's Metacritic score, Blueprints.
It still is. Oh well, for critics, it's still got
92.
Clair Obscura's score. For users, it's currently on a 7.6.
Oh god damn it. Those users are genuinely, half the users that market as being down are completely wrong, because this is one of the best games of the year so far. It's utterly fantastic. It's another great indie game. It's utterly fantastic. It's basically an escape room roguelike, is the best way to describe it. The story's very simple. It's basic. It's one of those stories where they go very Resident Evil and Souls-like, where you have to go find documents throughout the house to really know what's going on. But the basic premise is, nephew of this very rich guy he's apparently inherited after his death, and the rule is he has to find this fabled room 46 that no one's ever seen in the house.
One of the users said, I would have preferred a setting that better justified a shifting house, such as fantasy or horror, and disliked for not being able to save and quit halfway through the run.
I disagree.
And another one says, I see and understand the love, but I found it profoundly boring after playing for a while. The laws were enough to hook me. RNG and lack of modern quality of life mechanics caused me to not enjoy the playing after a while.
I completely disagree with both of those. I think it's got very. I don't think you need to worry about the ability to save and quit in the middle of runs, because most runs are not going to last you that long, particularly early on. They only really go on for quite a bit when you've got a few more of the permanent upgrades, and like you can end a run in like 5 minutes, because it's possible to get completely blocked off in terms of your movement. Like the further you get in the house, the more you need keys to unlock doors. The further you get in, the more likely you are to get some of the red rooms, which always come with a negative. So like the chapel, for example, is one you get quite early, and that's every time you go in there, you have to get rid of 1 coin, which you might need for purchasing something that's... And the thing is, I beat the game, and I don't think I scratched the surface, because there's a couple of puzzles I didn't finish. Mm-hmm. So like there's a puzzle in the laboratory that you can't do unless you get power from the boiler room. I never finished that one. And like there's a couple of puzzles where it's like you got to take notes when you're playing the game, because there was an example, there's a dark room that you use for processing photos. If you can get power to that, you get a photograph which gives you which you think is a bit where some numbers are carved into a tree, and you think, what's that for? And then when you get to a certain area on the map, you think, oh, that's what that's for. And then you type in that code, and you get a permanent upgrade. So there's a lot of...
what do these upgrades consist of then?
Well, it's usually things like you get access to a particular part of the house where you get these exclusive rooms that can improve your runs. You get more money, or you get more footsteps in the house, because the run ends when you run out of footsteps, or you just say I can't go any further.
What I've been seeing a lot of the negative reviews, they're still giving it 4s, so it's not like they hate it. But a lot of it's people who don't like the RNG, how RNG reliant the game is.
I feel like that motivated me, though, to go try another run and see if I could get a little bit further. Could I get a bit more of the story? Could I get another permanent upgrade? Could I find this particular room that I knew would lead to another permanent upgrade? Like one of the things...
I can kind of see where they're coming from a little bit, because from the sounds of it, a lot of the times the runs can just completely like end or screw you over with like no fault of your own.
Yeah, because you can run into...
Which I feel like is something that I like in a lot of roguelikes. I like when the failure feels like it's my fault, rather than just the game saying, yeah, no, you're not going any further.
And it will...
Like Hades, for example, every death feels like I messed up.
Yeah, and in this one, it's kind of that case of if I run into it, I was like, well, I should have been a bit more clever about how I did this layout this time round. I wasn't that clever this time, so I'll take that into account when I do my next run. Like, do I stay too close to the complete right side of the mansion? Because if I do that, I'm more likely to get a couple of rooms that are really beneficial to a future run. But I'm also then going to potentially run into a locked room faster. and I might get into a position where I'm not able to get to that side of the house that I need to get to. So, the thing as well about it is some of the puzzles change the answer with each run, and some of them are permanent answers.
Right.
So a couple of the safes that I found, there was a particular safe I found where it was the same answer every time, so I got a bit of extra benefits from that every time. Whereas, say, the two puzzles you're going to run into the most are the darts puzzle in the billiard room, and the two truths and the truth and lie puzzle on the lockbox in one of the rooms. Because they will change every time. So that one was at least one of these boxes has to be telling the truth, and at least one of these boxes has to be telling a lie. But you don't know what the third one is doing. It's either telling the truth or telling a lie. And you've got to use that to figure out which one's the right answer. And you open that, and you get one chance to open it. And with the darts one, it's a series of math puzzles that you have to do. Which if you do a permanent upgrade to it, which you can do through the computer discs, you can actually make it so the puzzles in those rooms are much easier on another run.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I will say is, though, if you can, try and avoid looking up the answer as long as possible, because if you actually can solve them for yourself, it's so gratifying.
Did you look up the answers to any of them?
A couple of them, yes. I looked up the answers.
Yeah, because I was just going to say, Carl, it's very rich advice coming from you.
But
Mr. Can't do puzzles on stream.
But I did try this one out, and I was like, people told me, don't do it, don't look them up, because you get it's so gratifying when you solve them. And I will stress, there's a couple of them where I was like, I just kept going, I kept trying, and I did get it. The gallery puzzle, that one was particularly hard. And I actually had someone tell me afterwards he didn't find this puzzle difficult, so take this with a pinch of salt. But I couldn't figure that one out for the life of me. So I did look that one up, because that run was going so well, and I did not want it to go wrong at this point.
Yeah.
And I'd been in that room for like 10 minutes trying to figure it out, and then I got it, and then I looked it up, and I was like, how in the name of all that is holy was I supposed to figure that out? Did I miss a document somewhere that said that this is what I was supposed to do? Because judging from the way they describe the puzzle, I'm supposed to be able to get it just by looking around the gallery. It's not a looker as well. This game's not a looker. Like, you could run this game, you could run it on Switch 1, and it's not going to have trouble running it. But speaking of which, it needs a Switch 1 or Switch 2 version soon.
It's not a Switch.
It's not on Switch, I don't think.
Oh.
I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure I'll just quickly double check, but I'm pretty sure it's not on Switch.
No, it's not. PC, PS5, Xbox only.
Yeah, and that surprised me, because it's not as if this game can't run on Switch. It absolutely can.
It feels like the kind of game that would work really well on Switch as well.
That's
like a portable puzzle game. You can.
Yeah, or just how simple it looks, even to run on phones.
I think phones is pushing it a little bit, but it does feel like a good. Elliot's right. I feel like it feels like a good game that would be good on the go. And I remember I got to one of the things I thought I was so close to finishing the game, and I found this one area that had eluded me for so many runs, and I was like, okay, I've got to this area at last, and then I got this special thing, and I was like, oh my god, that corresponds with a door I saw in a previous room, and I'm right close to it. I can get this. I'm going to finish it tonight. And then I got there, I solved all the puzzles in the area, thought I was done, and then it's blocked me. And I was like, I've got to do another run to figure this out. I was so close. So that when you finally get that door, to room 46, it is so gratifying. It's it's genuinely one of the greatest feelings I've had finishing a game.
I imagine, in that situation, though, with you, thinking you're really close, only to realize you're wrong, I feel like that could be really demoralizing for some people.
But at the same,
some people will see that. Some people will see that and just go,
Initially, it was.
I give up.
Initially it was demoralizing, but it wasn't a case of I give up. I was like, okay, I'm so close. I've got to figure out how I can solve this last room, because if I figure this one out, I know what I'm doing. I can pretty much make a rut, and the rooms line up. I could probably make a good go for room 46. Because you sort of know whereabouts room 46 is in the house, but you're not quite sure how you get it to actually appear. It's one of those situations. And the music, actually, the music in this game is actually really good. It's very good ambient music. The sound, that's actually something we didn't say about Clair Obscura. That soundtrack is phenomenal in that game.
Oh my god, the soundtrack in Clair Obscura is fucking amazing.
Whereas in Blueprints, they go for this more ambient soundtrack. And when you get to that, when you actually get solve the final puzzle that actually gets you to room 46, it plays this very triumphant ambient music to say, congratulations, all that time, all that effort has finally paid off. And if you actually delve into the story, it's also very satisfactory on solving the final room, because all I can say is there's a children's book that they leave throughout the house, and you're not quite sure what it means until you get to that final cutscene.
How funny would it be if you entered room 46 and there was just a note saying, maybe the real blueprints was the friends we made along the way?
At which point, Carla just picks up his PS5 or Xbox, just throws against the wall.
No, I will stress another thing about this game, because we're going to move on in a minute. One of you do occasionally have to solve it quite quickly if you want to get the platinum trophy, because one of the trophies is tied to beating the getting to room 46 in the first day of in-game day, and one of them is required to do it within a real world 1 hour of starting a new save file.
Yeah.
Now that is ridiculous, because the whole point, no one's going to do that on their first playthrough. I actually think it's impossible.
I mean, yeah, it's a roguelike. The idea of it is to be played multiple times.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking over the top of my head, like the scenario you'd have to beat the game in 1 hour. You'd have to...
Yeah, it's RNG, it's luck. That's what a lot of it is relying on.
Yeah,
because it's a good example back to Hades. What is popular speedruns is doing a fresh save file and killing Hades on the first run.
You can, I think it's very possible you could kill Hades on the first run. You'd have to be extremely good at the game, but you can do it. I think you'd have to get the most amazing amount of luck to beat Blueprints on the first, within an hour of starting the first save file. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, you need to get that room. You need to get that room to get access to another room, and you'd need one of 3 rooms that can get you to the area you really need to get to. I'm trying not to spoil the game, I should point out. And I'm just thinking, the amount of RNG you'd have to get that combination within an hour is unbelievably hard. But I'm certain someone's done it, because I've seen a few platinum trophies have popped off for it.
Yeah, I've seen a number of people have done it.
So, yeah, highly recommend Blueprints. Next game, because Reese hasn't talked, so we'll talk about the game that was a shadow drop this week.
I keep typing in one particular game, and you just go, oh, no, it's not that one. Okay.
So we got a shadow drop of an Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake, which I've been hearing a lot about. Reese, you've platinumed it on the PlayStation.
Yep. I platinumed the first week by doing 50 hours.
Because of course he did.
I streamed it. I've been streaming the PlayStation 5 version. I've also been playing the Xbox version in my spare time.
It's so painful.
It's not that painful.
The entire time is just you and Ren bitching.
Because
bitching about the game, Ren bitching about you.
I'm soft locked again.
To be fair,
I'm not streaming it again.
To be fair, I've run into genuine soft locks in that one. Like the time the speech didn't happen. I was insisting that speech had to happen, and Ren would say, "No, it's going to be fine. I will just play something." Say, "Ren, we've been here for ages. It's not happened. Reload the save file. I did this quest the other day. I know for a fact this is what's meant to happen." Yeah. I will stress as well. I think it's a very good remake.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's a very good...
82 from critics and 7.2 from fans.
Like the one thing I will say I don't really like is the fact they haven't removed a lot of the bugs from Oblivion. Like it feels like they they almost feel deliberate that they kept that in.
Yeah, so the bugs they did patch out was mostly the item duplication glitches. A few of them got patched out. That's mostly been it.
The one I've run into, the one is the I'm 2 feet tall. I'm 10 feet. I'm 10 feet tall glitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's happened to me. I even shared the videos with the group chat so Red could see.
Yeah, it's happened to me on a couple of occasions on the Xbox version. Hasn't happened to me on the PlayStation 5 version yet.
And as far as I can tell, that's a glitch exclusive to the remaster.
Just one question with the remaster. How is it that it looks better and worse than the original?
It's funny that it does...
a lot of it looks really good. And like a lot, you can definitely tell like the graphics and everything have been improved. But it looks so much worse with those old character models.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of them where it's like, and especially considering they've used the old voice lines, so...
Well, most of them, they have done some new ones as well.
Yeah, they've re-recorded a few things. I am appreciative that they gave us all the main DLC as part of the package. So Shivering Isles and Knights of the Nine is still there.
Do you still have to buy the horse armor?
Yes, you do.
Yes!
It is.
As we found out on stream when I had to tell Callum Red.
Well, I knew the horse armor was part of the deluxe edition, but I didn't realise that that demon that gives you the really good armor, it was also part of that deluxe edition.
And the same with the knight as well.
Yeah, so I think it's real. I think though it's a good remake of Oblivion. And this is a remake. Like this is done from the ground up with a different engine to us.
Oh no, it's not. It's a remaster. It's not a remake. It uses the same code and base.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
It's just remastered. They just like made it look better.
Yeah. No.
So what they did with Oblivion now, they got the original game. They still got most of the original source code, slightly touched up, but they ran the graphics through the new Unreal 5 as a new layer.
I mean,
that's why it looks so different.
I mean, it is impressive what they've done, and it's a very good.
So it's exactly just a remaster, not a remake.
I mean, it is literally called Oblivion Remastered.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just no. The thing about it is, for me, is I mean, Virtuoso did it. They've done a very good job with it, but I do think some of these things, I feel like they've deliberately put glitches in to make it nostalgic rather than this is a slip up that we made.
I mean, this is the first time a game company's done this. If I remember, the 3DS Ocarina of Time had like a bunch of glitches from the original game in them.
I think that's right.
And Nintendo deliberately put them in, from what I remember.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of that. I feel like you really should try to refine it as much as humanly possible.
The difference is I think with Ocarina of Time, it was more for speedrunners.
Yeah.
Okay. So...
You're
basically saying there is quit having fun.
So what, Reese, actually, in terms of like, because we've both played the original quite a bit.
Yeah.
How do you think this remake holds up?
Take all the glitches aside, fantastic.
I agree. I
was always one of the people who preferred Oblivion over Skyrim.
Same. I prefer Oblivion over Skyrim. I think the map's more interesting. I think the storyline's more interesting. I think the one thing it doesn't have is those cinematic moments, like with the dragons. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing it's kind of missing compared to Skyrim.
And also with Oblivion, there's still the focus on classes compared to Skyrim, where you just level everything up. I get all the perks.
Yeah, I agree.
It still feels more focused.
Yeah, I agree. I prefer that more focused RPG compared to the more broad RPG you get with.
Yeah.
I like characters to have certain roles when they're in a party, for example, which is one of the reasons I quite like Clair Obscura.
I mean, he is a Final Fantasy fan.
Yeah, that's why I like Final Fantasy. I like Final Fantasy for that specific reason. I like the way that the characters are a lot more focused. What do you think? Here's the thing, though. I mean, I think it's not worth playing in the quality mode. I don't think it's that much an improvement.
No, because I'm still finishing up the review for it, because I'm still playing through Doom. And I've not noticed that big of a difference between quality performance. Yeah, visually at least.
I remember we did the swap on stream, and Ren. I don't think Ren really noticed much of a difference. So
yeah, so the biggest obvious changes are slightly increased draw distance and better reflections on water and surfaces. Those are the only two main things.
And I'm not really looking at that when I'm playing something like this.
Yeah, same with most players. So is that really worth halving the frame rate for?
No, I much prefer playing the game at 60. The 60 FPS is so welcome.
Yeah.
Here's one though. Do you think this goes to Switch 2?
Yeah, I think it could run like that, because we've got players on PC still using computers with similar specs, and they'd be running it decently.
Yeah, I think it's possible they could get this running on Switch 2.
Yeah, there'll be some caveats. Like, I'm not sure Switch 2 will be able to run the ray tracing on the water effects, for example.
Yeah, no, then this is probably going to have to be a game key card rather than this will come on the thing.
Physical.
You say that, but you managed to get Cyberpunk on an actual Switch card.
But that's CG. And here's the thing, and I imagine it might happen if Nintendo publishes this, because they did that with Skyrim. In when the Switch 1 was launching, I remember that was a big part of their launch year. Was you're going to be able to play Skyrim portably.
And I was hoping about playing as Link as well, because they put the collaboration armor in.
Yeah, that was quite cool. But here, so I can imagine Nintendo would say, "Do you want to?" Bethesda would go to Nintendo and say, "Do you want to try and repeat that?"
Yeah.
As I say, I would say I really enjoyed this one. I really enjoy Oblivion, but I'm not sure it and I think it is better. And I still think it's better than Skyrim. Now I'm replaying the remake, but
that's the guy who's done nothing but complain every stream.
I'm not sure. I really think Oblivion. I don't think Oblivion is the greatest game that's ever been made, though. I don't think it's the greatest RPG that's ever been made. And I'm not sure. I feel like the first-person mechanics suits something like Fallout more than it does Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls. I'm not sure.
Well, they mostly kept in the first person to pay homage to the original games, which was also first person.
Yeah.
There's a difference between melee combat and range combat.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I do better with range combat in first person than I do with melee.
Yeah.
But
I'll say for Rebound, though, it's tremendous value for money.
Oh yeah, the value,
because I picked up the base version without Cal's pay-to-win aspects for 50 quid. You use about 3 points, as you get the whole game as well, both expansions. So Shivering Isles and Knights of the Nine.
Which I did Knights of the Nine quite early on with my one, not realizing I was doing it, because I actually didn't get the DLC on the PS3 version. I think they took a while to come out on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
And by then I was just moving on to other things, and it was really, because I remember I got to the end of that and thought, well, that was very climactic in terms of a storyline. This feels like a bit bigger than just something that would be in the base game, and obviously I was absolutely right. Yeah. And the armor you get for that DLC is unbelievably good.
Until you don't do the next DLC, which is Shivering Isles.
And you get something even better.
Yeah, as well as access to the best shops in the game that just sell the best necklaces and rings that only drop in random chests in the main game. You just go in and buy them.
Where's the money?
It's actually just so easy to power level if you just go to Shivering Isles.
I could just imagine that, like, you spend ages in the base game looking for those rings, not realizing you could just buy them in the DLC.
That happened to me.
Yeah, and you just go in there and you just think, all those hours wasted.
It really... Yeah,
so the most powerful stuff in the base game is like 0.1% chance to find in a random chest. Whereas in the shop in the Crucible, the Shivering Isles, it's like 40% chance to be in his shop inventory. That recycles every 3 days. So if it's not there, You wait 2 days, drop a save, wait 1 more day to refresh. If it doesn't have it, load a save back, wait that 1 more day and try again.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to power level.
You save scumming bastard.
Hey, it's a game mechanic, not me.
It works. I've saved scum. I save scum all the time.
Guys, it just works.
And now we've set up.
We had to get one. Come on, we had to get one in.
We had to get one in. It was either that and okay. So we're saying we like Oblivion a lot. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would say if you're a fan of the original, this is a definite buy.
Yeah, and I'm amazed they shadow dropped this and didn't do any other marketing for it.
Yeah, I was about to say shadow dropped it and released at such a cheap price.
Yeah, because
considering everything that's included.
It's like the base version is like £40, isn't it?
No, it was 50.
50, yeah, 50 for the base version, 60 for the special edition.
Your pay-to-win version.
I stand by. I think like even if you don't pay that, which you absolutely shouldn't, it's not worth it. Yeah. And if you get it on Game Pass, you get the standard version. You pay extra for the upgrade. I feel like you still get a very good value for money.
Yeah.
So next one up, another one. We'll stick with Xbox for a bit. Doom: The Dark Ages. I was just playing.
I can finally actually type this one in now.
Hey.
I've been playing the Xbox version.
I've been playing the PS5 version.
I've been playing PC.
Okay, so we have experience on all the different versions. Incidentally, though, both the PlayStation and Xbox version, I believe, are running at 4K 60.
Yeah.
Which by the way, this game runs amazing.
Yeah, I've had no issues.
For scores, it's currently 85 from critics and 7.9 from fans.
I think that's fair. 85 sounds about right.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit low for the fan base, but...
so that puts it higher than Doom 2016, but lower than Eternal, I think, from the critics.
Probably, in terms of like the objective quality, probably.
Yeah, Doom Eternal is 88. Mm-hmm. And Doom 2016, if I can actually find it. Why are there so many games with Doom in the name?
Because they recycle this all the bloody time.
Yeah.
What the hell is what? Oh, there. 17. No. That one's at 85 as well.
Okay, so it's exactly the same score as 2016, a little lower than Eternal.
Well, on the PC and PS5 version, Xbox is 87.
Yeah.
And with Switches, 79.
Yeah, the Switch version has its issues.
Yeah.
I'm amazed it runs as well as it does on Switch, to be honest.
Definitely.
Okay, so you guys are much bigger fans of the Doom game. Well, Reese in particular is a much bigger fan of the Doom games than me. So we'll start with him. What did you think of Doom: The Dark Ages?
I'm currently 6 missions in a minute. I'm just doing the dragon flying one.
That's the best one I've done so far. That mission is so good.
Yeah, so that's what I'm in a minute. I've almost finished it. But from what I've played so far, it has been really good with some caveats.
Okay.
Because in my experience, I've been let down by the Atlan missions.
Okay.
The controls are way too simplified.
Okay, Elliot, you've played a little bit of this.
I've done a decent amount. It's really fun, but I think it's the weakest of the new Doom games.
Okay, my opinion, for what it's worth, is because we've all seen my playthrough of Eternal, to much people's horror. I think this one. I don't think this one is the best one.
You were saying that for a while.
Objectively, but I think it's my personal favorite.
Is it because it's the easiest?
It's because it's the easiest to control. Yeah, that's the reality of it. I have so much more fun with the accessibility features in the game, and I think the shield is a really cool feature. I don't know how you guys feel about the shield, because I think it enhances combat quite a lot.
It has its ups, it has its downs.
Yeah,
on one hand, it has a lot of combat. On the other hand, it is OP.
Yeah. Which is why most players should say don't play on easy or medium. Just at least go to Nightmare. on your first playthrough.
I'm not playing Nightmare on my first playthrough.
Honestly, I'm kind of considering swapping to Nightmare. It's really not that difficult.
That being
especially when compared to 2016 and Eternal.
That being said, I haven't died yet.
And that's you playing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say it does get challenging later down the line. Reese is at the point where it starts getting challenging.
Yeah. Because I've got to the point now where they start to dogpile a lot of special enemies into one small arena encounter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And but you got to what my favorite mission is so far. I'm up to I think mission 8 or 9.
Okay.
At this point, I do like the gun selection as well. The gun selection's pretty good.
Yeah, that's some of the best guns in the series. I'll really say that now.
I like the new the shotgun's really improved. I like the double barrel version that you get. You can swap to what's it one? It's the pulverizer is really cool.
Pulverizer is really cool. Like it crushes up skulls and fires them at enemies.
Yeah,
that is so sick.
What about
who skulls? We don't know. We don't ask.
Yes. It's like
they don't appear to be demon skulls. They're oddly human shaped.
Whose skulls? None of your damn business. What do you think that? Here's a point though.
I'm just wondering where Doomslayer keeps them all. I just like to imagine that cape he's wearing is secretly a sack full of skulls.
Actually, there's a
it just carries it around with him everywhere.
Here's a point, actually. In terms of the more story-driven stuff to do with it, Reese, do you think that's going to confuse a bunch of players? Considering where it starts, do you think that's going to confuse a bunch of players who are not as into Doom lore as other people are?
Yeah, because this
it is confusing me, I will admit.
Yeah. So this whole new grand story that they've gone through is good, but you need to pay attention to the order it's told in. Whereas now in the Dark Ages, it's gone back to the gap between Doom 64 on the N64 and Doom 2016. It's smushed in between these two now.
Yeah, so people are going to be like, wait, why is Doom Guy not to be trusted now and has the yellow glowing eyes?
Yeah, I also feel like they've really, sort of toned down his, for lack of a better term, badassery.
I agree.
Because, in the other games, you saw him, he was almost punching He was punching everything and was really intimidating everywhere he went. Now he just feels like a tough guy.
Yeah, he
doesn't have a majorly menacing presence.
He does feel like
there's a point for that, Elliot, because at the early games he's still under full mind control. He's not himself.
Right.
So
has yellow glowy eyes.
But I kind of
I thought that was because of the whatever rock it got that made him a primeval.
No, because of the time period this takes place in, he's under mind control at this point.
Yeah. So the original timeline, it was Doom 1, Doom 2, Hell on Earth, then Doom 64. Then after Doom 64, Doom Guy gets thrown into Hell. He spends eons there before getting discovered by the Night Sentinels and then trained there. And now this is that point where he's been in Hell for eons now. And now, because he's been found by them and trained, he's then put under mind control by the Makers at this point.
And you're really waiting for that moment that he's going to break out of it, and then there's hell to pay.
Yeah.
I feel like, though, the problem I think Elliot brought up a very good point on stream last night, which was the sort of the special kills you get, they're not as interesting.
Oh, the glory kills have been majorly downtoned. That's such a big disappointment.
The ripping out of the eyeball and stuffing it down his throat with that.
Every enemy in the other games had a unique glory kill, sometimes several, and I thought that was such an awesome thing. Now it just punches or boots guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the change by Hugo Martin, the game director, who's done this whole trilogy, because he didn't want to slow down combat too much. These huge open battlefields and all the demons, just doing glory kills on all of them.
I think that was a mistake. I think I didn't mind combat being slowed down.
Yeah, it takes a lot away from that game, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
because now glory kills are only on mini bosses or the actual big bosses later on.
See,
because that's what Doom originally was. It was like a metal gore fest.
Yeah.
And they've sort of just kind of, there is still like quite a bit of it. You can still like blow demons' arms off.
Yeah.
But,
the gore feels like it's a little down-toned for the combat, which is one of the reasons why I say it's not why I say this one's my personal favorite at the moment, but I don't think it's the best one. I think I cannot justify saying this is better than Eternal, for example, which I think had much, which I think I can see that I'm no good at it, but it at least had better mechanics.
I still think Eternal's the best Doom game.
So
I still think that one's like an absolute masterpiece.
So I find it, and I fully accept that my issues with Doom Eternal are me not being good at it. But it does make me want, though, having played this, does make me want to go back and play Eternal again on an easier difficulty with some of these new features that have been added for the Series X version, and just see, because it makes me go, I want to get good at Eternal now. Just so I can say Eternal's the best one and Dark Ages is a really good effort, but it's not quite there. Because I really appreciate, though, the accessibility features that they've made into this game to make it more accessible to a lot more people.
Yeah, because I've just checked it now. There's one option to increase damage done to demons. It goes from 50%, so you do half damage, 100, which is like your normal, all the way up to 1,000% more damage.
Oh,
that would just insta-kill everything.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't turned that on. I'm not that much. I'm not that much.
You know what? You know what would be really cool? If you could increase damage to you up to 1,000%, and then Doom would have a Heaven and Helmet from Devil May Cry.
Hang on, I'm checking that now.
Oh, that would be so. If they did, that would be so amazing.
No, damage to player only goes up to 500%.
Fucking boo.
See, I would take that, though. I would take that. Turn it up to... That would be a great, like, one-off streak.
Yeah, turn both up to 100%. Make Heaven and Hell mode in
do you know
this
what?
game.
If we have to do...
no, even better. Turn yourself up to full. Turn the enemies down to 50. Make a Hell and Hell mode.
I tell you what...
And you can also increase the total game speed to 150%. So the whole game runs 50% faster.
Oh my god, that would be so chaotic.
I tell you what, Elliot.
I want to do that now.
I tell you what, Elliot.
One last thing. You also increase the enemy projectile speed as well. So it turns into an actual bullet hell game.
You know what? If we have to kill like a week of like a live stream between games, or we have to kill a bit of time because we finished the game early, and we want to do it, let's do that as a live stream. Just turn everything up to max. Like
I will not. I am only good at this game on PC. I am shit on consoles.
I will do that. Just say, and then
no, you're not. You're fucking banned.
Come on, it'll be worth it for just that. Turn everything up to max and then see how long I last.
No, I will not.
Cowards.
Hey, we have to suffer. We have to suffer. We're the real ones who are suffering here.
Actually, Reese, before we move on to something else, can I ask, how do you feel about the dragon and the mech mechanics? And I'm not spoiling anything because those were in all the marketing for this.
Yeah, so the mechs are the Atlans, and that's been my biggest disappointment in the game itself.
Yeah, the dragons are sick, but the mechs are kind of lame.
Yeah,
it's too simplified. There's not enough options.
Yeah, legit. It's like you literally just go up to big demons and just punch them. It's so easy.
It turns into a game of rock'em sock'em robots.
It really does, yeah. I've noticed that.
Because little guys punch each other.
The dragons, on the other hand...
Like, come on, where are the beam swords? Where are the missiles? Where are the guns?
Yeah, so you do get the gun, but it's only temporary. Because it runs out of ammo very quickly.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, though, as well. The dragons are so good by comparison.
Yeah.
Like, this is what Lair should have been.
Yeah, literally.
Does anyone else remember Lair? Or is it just me?
I do.
Kind of.
It was a whole program for the 6-axis controller.
Yeah.
The only reason I know what it is because of Matt McMuscle.
I bought it on launch day. I played it for a couple of hours. I never played it again. That's how badly that game controlled.
I think my one problem with the Dragon is that it does turn into a bit of a rhythm game.
Yeah.
Against the things. Like, I would have preferred if it was like massive sweeping battles, like I had to fly about a name rather than just stop, aim at something, dodge the attacks, fire at it. Like,
So go more warriors.
As a point, you can only get through the shields if you do the perfect dodge on the green projectile.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, I would have.
It's just waiting for the green.
Yeah, I would have preferred it if it was like, I guess a bit like a free roam Star Fox.
Yeah.
Like you were more just flying about shooting smaller enemies.
Okay, so.
Oh, before we move on, what do you guys think of the music? Because it's not Mick Gordon.
It's not Mick Gordon.
Is it not?
No.
No, but.
So he had a big bust up with the head of Bethesda. It's all documented. So he.
Yeah, I knew he like had a major falling out, but I didn't know he like completely quit the series.
Yeah, no,
yeah. So that's the whole reason the Doom Eternal soundtrack never released. We got 2016, Never Eternal, but we have got Dark Ages now.
I say it's not bad. It's a pretty...
So it's Mick Gordon. We got the group called Finishing Move. And do you guys know what they did before this?
I'm not entirely sure on that one.
It was the soundtrack for the Callisto Protocol.
Oh. Right.
Yeah. I did like the soundtrack to that game, I remember.
Yeah, so the music now is more like the generic metal, which I think is okay, but it does not live up to previous two soundtracks.
It doesn't have as much oomph as the 2016 No Eternal.
Yeah, no, it does not have that Mick Gordon punch that he really delivers in those soundtracks.
Yeah.
Like, it really made me realize, oh wow, playing this one made me really realize how much Metal Hellsinger takes from these games.
I mean, yeah, and Metal Hellsinger, in my opinion, improves it.
Yeah, no, it's I would say though, I think
like seriously, like honestly, God, Metal Hellsinger is one of the best, as the best soundtrack in gaming. For the love of God, release a soundtrack!
Yes, they've said ages ago they were going to do it, and they still haven't.
Yeah, which is funny because he said. Professor said the same thing for Doom Eternal. People could buy the special edition for the soundtrack. That still hasn't released.
I think... Here's the thing, though, with the Metal Hellsinger one, I'm wondering if that's due to the fact that some of the managers of the various singers that were guests on are holding
I have
it back.
heard like there were some complications with that. In that case, you know what? Fine, I want a sequel.
So, say for example...
Just give me a Metal Hellsinger sequel. I would love that so much.
This thing does happen quite a bit with features on albums. So, for example, I'm borrowing a lot from Todd in the Shadows video for this. When Run DMC did an album called Crown Royal, they had a bunch of extra guest stars on, and two of the prominent ones were Kid Rock and Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit.
Oof. They need to pick better guests.
They
had a few other guests on, like I think Method Man was on there.
That wasn't the one where Walk This Way was on, was it?
No, this wasn't Walk This Way. No, they had the guy from Third Eye Blind on as well. But they had plans that the Kid Rock song and the Fred Durst song were going to be the two lead singles for it. But Fred Durst and Kid Rock management blocked him from being singles.
Oh.
So that's why they did not get music videos, and they didn't get... Probably dodged a bullet with the Fred Durst song, because it's particularly bad. And this is coming from someone who doesn't hate Limp Bizkit.
I mean, hearing the Fred Durst song is worse than the Kid Rock one. Is kind of shocking to hear. Yeah,
especially considering that Kid Rock is appalling.
Because it doesn't matter how much you dislike Fred Durst. You like him more than fucking Kid Rock.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm saying as someone who despises Kid Rock.
And also we all love Limp Bizkit now because it's Devil May Cry.
Yeah, of course. And I'm saying as someone who despises Kid Rock, his song on that album was better than Fred Durst's one, and I hate to say that. But again, that's what I reckon's happened with the Metal Hellsinger soundtrack. A manager or a record company has said this is not going out. We're not happy with some things happened with the deal.
Here's a question about Doom. What do you think of the levels being like a lot more open than the other ones?
A little mixed on it.
Yeah, I think that takes away from the old style of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think I prefer the more linear ones of 2016 Eternal.
Yeah, because back then it was more focused. And there's more emphasis on traversal, where it's more linear, jumping here, there, and everywhere. Whereas in this game now, the more flat open spaces.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I wasn't actually planning to go back and 100% some of the levels until I finished the game because I played a little bit before we went out to the Netherlands, and I told Reese, well, I said, well, I only managed this % on the first mission, but I assume I've now got to go back with my new items and new abilities, and then I'll get the ability to unlock. And he said, no, you can 100% the level on your first playthrough. And I was like, wow, they did not do a very good job conveying that I could 100% this thing on my first playthrough.
I had a feeling you could, honestly.
Yeah, which is what I've been doing, because I've done all these missions up to now 100%.
Yeah, I haven't been going back. Yeah, I'm basically I'm gonna beat the game first, and I'm gonna go back.
I would say I'd recommend doing it that way. Although I would say that you some of the upgrades are locked behind certain items. Like I've only done my first ruby upgrade recently. Well, I upgraded the shield for the record. Are you gonna make something?
My first ruby upgrade was for the sniper rifle.
I think mine was for the spike gun.
Yeah, the sniper rifle.
Yeah, I did not the normal version of it, not the sniper rifle one.
Yeah, no, I think I'm not doing very well with that weapon, so I've not been using that much.
I wasn't at first, but once I got the upgrade that basically dealt a lot of damage if you kept shooting at it, then threw a shield at the enemy, I have been using that one a fair bit.
Yeah, also one of the upgrades for the sniper rifle is if you hold down the trigger, it slows down time to make it easier for headshots.
Yeah.
And when that gun's fully upgraded, it's the most powerful gun in the game.
So I think,
because of course it is.
I think the message we're getting at the minute is we like this game, but 2016 and Eternal were technically better games.
Yeah,
I think the other two were way better, if I'm honest.
But I think we should stress we do like this game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I still think it's like an 8.4, 8.5.
Yeah,
I just think that the other two were like in the 9s.
Yeah, I'd say 8.5 is fair. 8.5 is a very fair score.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the last game we're going to talk about today.
No, we have two more.
Two more, yes. Sorry, which one other than 100 Lines do we have?
The other one was the Midnight Walk.
Oh yes, the Midnight Walk. Let's do the Midnight Walk first then. Because I apologize, I wasn't able to I didn't have a chance to try out the VR version before.
You always forget at least one game that I'm playing.
Yep.
It's good to see who the least. I think we now know who the least favorite amigo is.
So I apologize, Elliot. I did not get time to try out the VR version, but from what I've heard, people have said the VR doesn't add too much to the game.
Yeah, I mean you can play it just standard, fairly easily.
I appreciate that because I think VR. A lot of people are not going to have PSVR 2. I don't think that thing's sold incredibly well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So currently, on Metacritic is a 78 from critics and 8.4 from users. I think the critics have scored it way too low.
I was about to say, I bet you're in the fan vote on this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely more in line with the fan vote. This game is lovely.
So what exactly is the Midnight Walk for the people who haven't played it?
It's basically a walking simulator / puzzle game / horror game. The idea is basically you play as someone called the Burnt One, who's going with who's wandering up to the Midnight Walk with this little hot boy, literally called Hot Boy.
Oh.
And you're trying to get up to Moon Mountain, essentially to bring back the sun.
Now, the two things it really reminded me of when I saw the trailers for this was Tim Burton films and that game Little Nightmares.
Oh yeah.
Which I really like the Little Nightmares games, but have you?
I haven't played any of them.
Okay, so we can't get a comparison on that one for this thing.
Not really.
But what do you really like about the game?
The aesthetics. This game, just in general, looks so good.
Not surprising.
Like the creative world design, the look of the look of everyone around. Like in the second area, you meet a bunch of people called the Nobodies, which are literally just heads. You got rid of their bodies long ago, and you come in with a body, so they call you a somebody, which I really like.
I'm getting a weird...
Kingdom Hearts.
I'm actually saying I'm getting a weird Futurama vibe from that.
It's all generally like looks really good. The character design is incredibly creative. The monster design, I think, is really cool as well. I think they all have like sort of a certain level of creepiness to them.
But the funny thing is, you haven't really mentioned gameplay at this point, and that's something I've noticed here.
That's because we've only been talking about this for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, but
That's what I liked about it. I gave you one thing.
Yeah. But normally, the first thing people go to is a certain gameplay mechanic. So it's like when we
talked about with Clair Obscura was how it looked.
Oh yeah, that to be fair. But so gameplay wise, how do you think this plays?
Well, as I said, it's mostly a puzzle horror game. A lot of the puzzles require like you using giant matchsticks to light candles and stuff like that. A lot of them also require you to close your eyes. So you look at like an eye, sort of a stone statue or something with an eye in it. Once that sort of starts going, you close your eyes, open them, something in the environment has changed.
I imagine that's going to be really.
And you have to sort of use. Sometimes it requires hearing as well. Like you need to close your eyes to be able to like hear things better and sort of follow that hearing to figure out what, like the next puzzle piece or something like that.
I imagine that part actually would benefit the VR experience.
I imagine it would, yeah.
Because I'm thinking back to a game, one of the games that was on the PSVR 1, which was The Inpatient. You know, the terrible prequel.
The terrible Until Dawn prequel.
Oh yeah.
That nobody remembers.
That introduced a bunch of mechanics like that, with like closing your eyes and not moving your head. But
yeah.
One of the things I found, but they only introduced it like one time, and then you'd never use it again.
Yeah, meanwhile, this game uses it quite a lot.
So that's where I say this is a vast improvement on that idea.
Yeah, definitely. The puzzles are actually really simple, but but in a way that they're still satisfying to complete.
Are you doing anything?
Like, I never thought, that was really easy. What was the point of that? A lot of the times I did think, okay.
Considering this is a horror game, are you doing any of these puzzles against the clock?
Not against clocks, but a lot of the times there are monsters about.
Right.
Who you will like have to try and avoid and like wait until they go. Because you can't fight monsters in this game. Obviously, the only way to you have to sort of like hide from them, like by finding these wardrobes in the environment, or like hiding in little burrows against one enemy in particular.
So the game starts to get back in the closet, Elliot.
Yeah. Actually, closets are how you teleport. You're like at the end of some sections, it like one of the wardrobes will open, and you just sort of go through. And you go through like a bunch of jumpers to get out the other side to another wardrobe. It's actually really cool.
I like the idea that I do like the idea of that. The monster design in this thing, I've seen a few of the designs. They actually are pretty creative.
They're really cool. They're really cool. Yeah, like the main one you encounter are the crawlers, which look really damn creepy, actually.
Yeah,
and like they're actually quite a variety of monsters, and the way you sort of have to deal and get away with them are quite different.
So we're all on that front. I think there's an issue I have. I think one of the issues I have with the Midnight Walk when I first saw the thing when I first saw it is that it was a walking simulator. And I'm a very mixed when it comes to walking simulators.
I mean, as it says, walking simulator / puzzle, so you're not just walking the entire time, but also the world is so creative and interesting that I would be perfectly happy just walking through that world.
So,
like, there's a ton of lore and subtle storytelling within it.
It does like very creative ideas that they've put into this game.
The thing I actually really like about it, which I was not expecting to say about a horror game, is comforting.
Really?
It's one of those games where, like, it's a lot of things. Like, it's the somber music. It's the use of light. It's the it's the voice acting. A lot about this game when you're just walking along with Pop Boy and a literal walking house called Housey. I'm not kidding. It's strangely cute. It's all incredible. I find myself feeling like strangely comforted by it, and like it's really chill. I just find myself really liking it.
So this just sounds like a game that was tailor-made for you at the minute.
It really does. Like, I'm a sucker for stop motion animation, like especially Tim Burton stuff. Like, I love Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's funny. You're one of the few people I know who really likes Corpse Bride, because I've heard a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard there's a bit of a backlash to that film.
No, I think Corpse Bride's great. I
like Corpse Bride.
I do think there are some definite problems with it. For example, the sort of choppiness of stop animation only really happens like during cutscenes. Like in gameplay, it all runs really smoothly, which does take you a little bit out of the stop animation aesthetic of it. But it's not awful, because I guess this benefits gameplay at least.
I do find it interesting this has come out very close to South of Midnight, which also did the stop motion aesthetic.
Yeah. Well, I say that one's probably more in keeping with something like Spider-Verse. Like, it's a more comic book style.
Yeah, no, I think actually...
it has the choppiness of that rather than stop animation.
I think Midnight Walk runs it better. From the gameplay I've watched of it,
yeah,
it does.
Another problem I have is, and this is a bit of a minor one, there are some invisible walls when the game really wants you to sort of watch something happening, like Pop Boy interact with something or something like that, which does it does sort of prevent you from moving forward for a little bit, which is a bit annoying, because it's almost feels like it's forcing me to watch something rather than letting me just sort of stop and see it for myself.
Okay, I would say I'm not a big fan of invisible walls in that sort of scenario, so I completely agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
So, what would you say? Final thoughts, Elliot? How do you really like this one? I'm guessing.
I think it's great. I think it's like Stray. It's a really short game, but I think it's one that's going to stick with you for a while. And it's charming. It's nice. It can be quite scary. It can be pretty scary at times. Okay. I really recommend it. I think it's great.
Okay, you brought up Stray there. Out of the two games, which one would you recommend for people more, Stray or Midnight Walk?
It's tough to say because they're both kind of different games.
They are kind of different.
Stray is more of a stealth platformer. This is a puzzle horror game.
Yeah, so they are quite different. So that's probably not a great comparison. I feel
they are both walking simulators. I say I'd recommend them both equally, honestly.
Here's the thing. I really wish you had played Little Nightmares, because I would have been very interested in the comparison between, because that is also kind of a 2D walking simulator horror puzzle game.
Yeah.
So I'd be I will actually try this out at some point, because I would be interested to do the comparison between the two games.
I do definitely recommend it, yeah.
I will pick up the VR version soon to try that out. So next thing we're going to do, 100 Lines Academy, newest game from...
100 Line, that's Defense Academy.
Yeah, the newest game from the Danganronpa team.
Yeah.
I really like...
AKA a very big guilty pleasure of mine. I really like Danganronpa.
No, I really liked the last two games that they made. I liked World's End Club, and I really liked Master Detective Archives.
A lot of people were mixed on World's End Club.
I liked it a lot more.
A lot of people were thinking it was going to be like Danganronpa, that was going to involve a killing game, and you going through a bunch of these puzzles, and it wasn't really. That was I think the first 30 minutes.
Yes, I actually liked the fact they pulled the rug out of people with that one and said, you thought it was going to be Danganronpa, we're giving you something completely different now. And I thought... Yeah,
but then I also really liked the really dark stuff that the director and Spike Chunsoft do.
Yeah, and Spike Chunsoft are very good. We both really liked Raincoat. I think we both nominated for Game of the Year in 2022.
Raincoat was so good.
Yeah. Oh, so
I wanted to become a franchise.
So, have you played the Switch or the PC version of this?
I played Switch.
I played Switch as well. Reese, you haven't tried this one yet.
No, not yet.
This is basically a tactical strategy RPG.
Yeah, it's in a similar vein to like something like Fire Emblem or Persona 5 Tactica. But I say this one takes it like a bit of a step up.
Yeah,
like first of all the characters' attacks like have very unique, not just like unique benefits, but also like unique stuff, like where the squares in which they hit are quite unique as well.
Yeah, and if in terms of like combining the visual novel aspect with the strategy RPG, the game it really reminded, other than Fire Emblem, the game it really reminded me of was Digimon Survive.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I find really funny about this one. Master Detective Archives was more Danganronpa in gameplay. This is more Danganronpa in aesthetics.
And feeling,
like the music, the visuals, it all screams Danganronpa.
I like the new mascot character.
Sirei, yeah.
Yeah, Sirei's pretty good. He's not going to be as iconic, but
he's not as iconic as Monokuma.
Yeah, but you can't. That design,
let's be honest, you can't replace Monokuma.
Yeah, Monokuma is just so perfect
in
design.
Own brand of like horror. So to speak.
Yeah, but I do like the aesthetics of this one. They kept the same art style. They've kept. I do like the gameplay as well. The gameplay,
the same quirkiness with the characters,
and the story's pretty good from what I've played so far. I haven't finished this, so
how far into it are you?
Oh god, I've not had much time of it at all. I'm on like day 10.
Oh wow, you really are not that far. I'm on like day 70.
The early story is pretty good. I feel like the gameplay. I feel like the problem I have with this thing is there's so many tutorials early on.
That does not change. Well, you do get like a lot more mechanics later on, but I say that this is a lot like Clair Obscura. It's all so simple. You're not really going to forget any of them.
Yeah, so it's not my issue. It's more the fact of it's kind of like, oh god, can I get to the gameplay now? It's kind of it's one of the issues I kind of had with Digimon Survive as well. That one felt like
it's tactical RPGs. They're gonna have a lot of tutorials.
Though that being said, unlike Digimon Survive, you don't have to do 2 40-hour playthroughs to get the true ending.
Yeah.
Which,
however, you will need to do multiple playthroughs to get all the endings.
Yeah, there's 200 endings, isn't there?
Oh Jesus!
No, not that many. I think they said, there's 100 endings. I think there's probably like 20.
Yeah, I was gonna say because they can't have put that much in. Like that's near Automata levels of endings. So there's 26.
Because though, from what I'm aware of, the first playthrough you're locked into one ending.
Right. So first,
it's the later ones where like you get more options to like sort of change the outcome of the story.
And I don't like that in games. Like I criticize Triangle Strategy for this. I criticize Digimon Survive for this, and I liked both of those games. I'm going to criticize this one for it.
I do like it. I don't mind it because it kind of tells me like this is the canon ending. The rest is just sort of you can do your own thing.
Okay, now I prefer that. What I didn't.
Yeah, I think that's sort of what the idea was. Like this is the ending that the game is intended to happen. The rest is just sort of what if. I think.
So, for example, in both Digimon Survive and Triangle Strategy, which are two games that are gameplay very similar, you can't get the true ending on your first playthrough. And I don't like that. I would like to have the option to get the true ending on my first playthrough of those games.
This isn't like one of these endings is a true ending. All of these endings. I think the original is the true ending.
Which I like that. I prefer that.
It doesn't require you to do a lot of stuff. Like I'm 70. As I said, I'm 70 days in. You only get like one sort of story deciding choice at the beginning, which is literally just. Do you continue the story or do you not?
Yeah, I will say as well though. I don't know why. I think artistically, I preferred Raincode.
Raincode. Well, Raincode has like very much has the sort of neon cyberpunk aesthetics. which I like the sort of Neo Tokyo sort of look of it, which I personally am a massive fan of. And I think, like, meanwhile, this, as I said, is definitely just a lot more Danganronpa in looks and aesthetics and everything like that.
Do you know what I think's happened? And correct me if you think I'm wrong on this one. I feel like Spike Chunsoft have got a bit scared because their games haven't done as well as Danganronpa. With like World's End Club didn't do as well, Raincode did alright, but it didn't do as well. And I think they've kind of panicked and gone, okay, we've really got to do Danganronpa again without doing Danganronpa.
I disagree, because I do follow the director on Twitter, and before I was off, he did tweet quite regularly. And I've even gone back a couple of times on his profiles after 100 Lines released. He's literally just making whatever the hell he wants.
So this is definitely...
That's literally just all he's doing. He's just making all the games he wants to make, and he's really excited about them.
So the thing about the 100 Lines is as well, I feel like I do like the Danganronpa-esque elements that they add into it.
Yeah.
Like it does feel like something slightly more familiar this time, but I'm not the huge... But as I say, and this is coming from someone who's not the hugest Danganronpa guy. I'm not the hugest person on it. I really like the Danganronpa games.
Meanwhile, I bloody love them.
Yes.
Like, as I many times before, I'm a huge Danganronpa fan.
So, how do you think this holds up then, Elliot, compared to the other games?
I'd probably say it's the weakest, but that's entirely just because I prefer the detective games to this one.
You're right. That I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to say that I preferred Raincode to...
Yeah, but that's more just because, like, I really like sort of the whole detective mystery, doing quick mini games to figure out a mystery, compared to tactical RPGs, which honestly, for me at least, do get kind of tiresome after a bit. But luckily, this game doesn't, like, it's part visual novel, part tactical RPG, like Digimon Survive.
Yeah.
And I think it gives you enough gaps between the fights that it doesn't become stale. Which I feel like is a problem I had with Persona 5 Tactica and a lot of the Fire Emblem games, where it feels like the tactical RPG is the main draw to them, and it becomes tiresome after a bit. With this one, there's enough gaps where it's just like, okay, I'm not going to get too tired and too bored of this.
Now, can I stress something that I'm going to say, I think I preferred, between the two games, I think I preferred Digimon Survive to 100 Lines Academy.
Well, you've played more of Digimon Survive.
But that's the point I'm making. I've not played enough of this, and I feel like after a while, because I get that true ending on my first playthrough...
Yeah, you are, I'm going to say right now, your 10 days in is fucking nothing.
Exactly. So
much happens throughout the game, and the story to this game is great. And like, the story is really good. Like, trying to figure out the mystery of why you were brought to this academy, who are these invaders.
Yeah, and
it's really good.
And the first 10 days have really grabbed me. I just have not had the time to get into it. But I'm going to devote... I think I want to put a bit more time into this before the Switch 2 comes out.
I definitely say you should, yeah.
Because I believe this is one of the backwards compatible games on Switch 2.
I would imagine all the games were backwards compatible.
Yeah, I've heard a few exceptions, but other than that, no, I think most of them are. I can't imagine you'd release a Switch 1 version if it was not going to be backwards compatible at this stage. Yeah.
Well, something I actually also really like, I haven't mentioned, is how they use death in this game.
Yeah, as I say,
so obviously characters die. Not in the story. There's basically there's a machine they have called a revivomatic, where if a character dies in the battle, they're just brought back to life.
Yeah,
it's not explained. That just happens.
Yeah, I remember the first time that happened. I was kind of like, "Oh shit, we really are going to do Danganronpa and do."
Yeah, I was just like, "Oh shit, Jarumi's dead. What the hell? What the hell? I really liked it. Wait, no, she's back."
Oh, it was like,
yeah, but basically, characters when characters' health in battle gets, like, I think below 5, they're able to pull off one of their really powerful moves, like their ultimate move, which requires like 100% vortex to activate. And Vortex builds up quite slowly, so it's really powerful. But they die when you use it. Which I think I actually really like, personally.
It does add a bit of a
it's another layer of strategy. It makes you think, okay, can I use this character more, or will they just die next turn? Because once the character reaches 5 health, they will essentially, if there are any big enemies close to them, they're fucking dead.
Yeah, because it does
think I might as well use this ability now, get a ton of them off the board, and just kill them off early.
It does add a bit of a high risk, high reward aspect to the game.
Yeah, and they revive. They revive at the end of each wave as well. So like you're only losing them for like a little bit of time.
Okay, I'm gonna.
And the thing is, there's a lot more I can talk about, but I don't want to because Calvin hasn't fucking played it yet. But also, like you haven't gone to the exploration bits yet.
Yeah, but also the other fact as well is, Elliot, we really should not spoil too much of this game because there's so much to do in it from what I've gathered.
Yeah, I haven't. Literally everything I've talked about has happened the first 10 days.
Yeah. The first it does take a while for things to happen. So good. So I really so I would say even
only 1 sec on Metacritic 85 from critics, 8.2 from fans. I say it's a fair score.
Yeah,
I say it's a pretty good score. I say it's fair.
Yeah, I agree. I've only played a short while of it, but I would say I'd recommend this one, especially if you like visual novels and tactical RPGs, and especially if you like Digimon Survive, because I think this game plays very similar.
Yeah, I've heard the director said his wants for this game, which is he wants an anime adaptation at some point, and he would potentially like this to become a franchise.
Oh,
so
as I said, the dude's like, I highly respect the dude. He's like just making whatever the hell he wants.
And the thing is, I would really hope this sells well because I'd like Spike Chunsoft to go on and make more games.
Apparently, that he is working on another game. He was working on another game while working on this one as well. So I look forward to whatever that is.
So here's the thing, Elliot. Out of the two that we've had in recent memory, because World's End Club is not going to become a franchise.
Yeah, no.
It's not been received well enough. But between Master Detective Archives and 100 Line Academy, which one would you prefer to become a franchise? Like, this is the one that Spike Chunsoft is going to put all their time and effort into for the next few years.
Definitely Master Detective Archives.
I'd agree, actually. I think Master Detective Archives, I think there's a real potential with that one.
I think there's a major potential for both, but I as I said, I prefer the whole puzzle detective style gameplay of that one and Danganronpa.
Okay, so...
I mean, in an ideal world, we get another Danganronpa, but Master Detective Archives, I still think it's great.
Considering how the last Danganronpa ended, could you do another Danganronpa after that? Without
even the director has admitted if he was going to do it again, he'd do a reboot.
Yeah, I was about to say you'd have to do a reboot because
you have to do. You really would.
You've really written yourself into a corner if you don't want to do that. If you want to continue the storyline after the way the last one ended.
Yeah, I think he said he would be up for it. I think he said he would be alright doing a reboot for it.
I imagine. Put it this way: I wouldn't surprise me if a company wanted to bankroll another Danganronpa reboot. Like for example, I imagine Sony would be very up for doing it, considering how well it sold on Vita.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think this may sound weird. I think for a bit, if it will come on to Switch 2 exclusively.
Yeah, I feel like Nintendo might even want to publish it because
Nintendo is really backing Spike Chunsoft at the minute because Master Detective Archives was a timed exclusive. This is exclusive aside from it also being on PC.
I think they actually published the Master Detective Archives Raincode initially for that exclusivity because they sold it on the Nintendo Store UK. That's how I got my collector's edition.
Yeah, so I think currently Nintendo are kind of backing them a fair bit.
Also, there's no character I've liked in 100 Lines Academy as much as Shinigami in...
Shinigami's great. If I had to pick a favorite character that you have met, Darumi.
Darumi's pretty cool, actually.
Darumi's awesome. I love that she's someone who really wanted to become a killing game.
Yeah, she's basically just anime Harley Quinn.
Nah, she's the human form of Monokuma if she were a participant instead of the judge.
I was just like, oh, this isn't a death game. Lame.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it was like, I saw her design. I was like, right, I'm talking to you first.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to move on to the news items. And the biggest one that obviously happened was Grand Theft Auto 6. We got an update. It's been delayed to May 26th, 2026.
Yeah.
And we got a new trailer for it, which showed off a few more of the storyline that's going on in it. This apparently came as a bit of a shock to some people. Like someone I know who does work in the industry said, and doesn't tell me any information, by the way, so I can't leak anything on this channel. He basically said it was a real shock because we all thought Rockstar were going to get it out at the end of this year.
Yeah, everyone was convinced. Oh yes, absolutely coming out this year.
After all the trailers and hype.
But I think also there's a couple of reasons I'm happy about this. One, it gives Clair Obscura a real chance to do well award season.
Yeah.
And two, companies can now start planning their release schedules now because in terms of not competing with Grand Theft Auto 6. It's like we don't have to worry about this now for the rest of the year, and we know exactly when in 2026 they're going to bring out Grand Theft Auto 6, so we can avoid that.
Yeah, in other words, nothing's going to be coming out at the end of June or July.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's it. Yeah, June and July is going to be.
No one's going to be buying anything during July.
Except unless they're Nintendo, they're not making anything because Nintendo fans don't really like Grand Theft Auto anyway. And if you want more proof of that, Good Vibes Gaming is the channel I keep mentioning. They have a largely Nintendo-based audience. When they did their top 10 PlayStation 2 games, San Andreas didn't make none of the Grand Theft Auto games made the top 10 list.
Oh.
And so the fan base of that, so that is kind of where we're at. Incidentally, Kingdom Hearts 2 did very well on that list.
Of course. I heard God of War 2 didn't do very well. That pisses me off.
It did all right. Didn't do incredibly well.
It's God of War 2.
I know. I agree.
Get better taste.
I voted for God of War 2 on that list.
As he lied through his teeth.
Where did Devil May Cry 3 show up?
Oh, God, it was in the top 10. I can't remember where exactly.
Oh, go to hell. Go to hell. Devil May Cry 3 is the best PS2 game. I will fight anyone.
Fight me then, because I do disagree with that one. I think my number one was Final Fantasy X.
Where is it in your list, though?
Number one.
Devil May Cry 3, I mean.
I would put it 5 or 6, maybe 7 or 8, around that area.
That's good enough. It's in the top 10.
Yeah, I'm not. But that being said, I like Devil May Cry 5. I now would say, having replayed it on Switch, I like Devil May Cry 5 the most now. Yeah,
same. Devil May Cry 5 is the best Devil May Cry game.
We're going off topic. Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto, very good. I liked the trailer. I mean, it's now become the most watched trailer of video game trailer ever.
Yeah.
Did you? So presumably you two saw it as well.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Oh.
No. I'm not that bothered about GTA.
Yeah. So Reese, what do you think of the trailer?
I thought it looked really good. It expanded what we thought we were going to get because the outline originally for GTA 6 was just Vice City but bigger. Like GTA 4 was Liberty City but bigger. And 5 was San Andreas but bigger. But now we're seeing through this trailer, now we've got multiple different locations we're hopping between.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting how we're going to do that. But especially considering they've got to outdo the map from GTA 5, which was huge.
Yeah, like I think from what I've heard, a lot of people say GTA 5 had the best map.
It does. It absolutely does.
Sandbox.
Yeah, it's an unbelievably good sandbox.
Oh, definitely. Because my favourite GTA will always be Vice City due to nostalgia. But even I can admit, that map was pretty bad because the game was made in 9 months.
It's funny because my favourite GTA is 4 for the story.
Yeah.
But and again, I same thing. I admit the map is so much better in GTA 5.
Damn, I thought the popular one was San Andreas.
San Andreas.
Oh, it is overall.
Yes, but we're saying this is our personal favorites. Like San Andreas will always be the most popular GTA, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think currently 5 is the thing. Is like the third most sold game of all time.
No, it's overtaken its second.
Damn it! It overtook Tetris.
It overtook Tetris. Yeah, it's very close to Minecraft as well.
Yeah, it's like that Bush meme with the guy whispering in his ear, "Sir, they've overtaken Tetris."
Here's the thing, though. There's a lot of talk has been talked about the pricing, considering that we're now getting to $80 games in America, because Microsoft has also announced that their games are going to go up to $80, as if anyone actually buys their first-party games, rather than just gets Game Pass.
I do. I got them on Steam.
Oh, yeah, to be fair, Steam. But Steam sales are going to be your friend for a while, Elliot.
Yeah, because I don't... Yeah, because because I don't need another subscription service.
So what price do we think Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming in at?
I think they're gonna be bold. I think they're gonna go 85.
Well, I think it could be even more bold. If they don't do just the stock 80, I think it could be 100.
I think they're going to stick to 80. I think the $100 will be the special edition. Because
no, special edition is going to be more than 100.
I mean, digital special edition.
Oh yeah.
Rather than like the collector's edition and the physical one, that's going to be way more. Yeah, I grant you that one.
Oh, the collector's edition is going to be. I think that's going to be Final Fantasy 16 pricing.
Yeah, that was a very.
What pricing was that?
It was like I think it was like 300 quid for both of us.
Yeah, it was.
I reckon it's gonna be a lot higher for GTA 6.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like $500.
That's a console price, though. If we're going with that.
Yeah, but this is Rockstar we're talking about.
Yeah,
the company who made $8.5 billion on GTA 5 alone.
But that's mainly
$8.5 billion.
Yeah, but that's mainly from GTA Online. That's where they're making most of their money, and that's the thing they've really going to struggle with this one. How do we get everyone who's on GTA Online to convert, that's happy with their current GTA Online, to convert to this version of GTA Online?
Easy. Either character progression or shut down 5.
Yeah, do an Overwatch,
which I think they could do.
Do an Overwatch 1.
Yeah. Either transfer or start again. Either way, you can't play 5 anymore.
The difference is there's a single player version. There's a single player with 5, so there's still a bit of value.
Yeah. I do like the idea of them going with this sort of Bonnie and Clyde thing with GTA 6.
Yeah.
Especially the first female character we're going to get to play as.
Technically, didn't we have 1 and 2? Or there was an option in 2?
Yeah, option in 2. But this is the first time since that massive change in direction that we got in GTA 3 that we've had this.
Yeah, with the whole 3D instead of being top down. And
it's actually a good move for a series that has been criticised in the past for misogyny.
Oh, yeah.
Not entirely unfounded, I would say, but...
Yeah.
Which begs the question, we haven't seen gameplay of this one yet.
Well, it was supposed to be part of the gameplay in that trailer we saw.
I don't buy that for a second. I don't buy any of that was gameplay.
I think, in all fairness, I think the gameplay is just going to be what we expect.
Yeah, but...
GTA does not change its gameplay formula much at all.
But the thing I want to know is it going to look that good when I'm playing it, or is they put more effort into those CGI cutscenes? So I've got a weird feeling Jeff Keighley is currently in talks to get the first gameplay reveal of GTA 6.
Yeah, for the Summer Game Fest.
Not necessarily Summer Game Fest, maybe Game Awards or Gamescom opening night live, but I think he is in talks to get that. I would not be surprised if he's currently negotiating with... He and his team are currently negotiating with Rockstar right now to get that. So we'll move on to next item, which is PlayStation is shutting down their their PlayStation Stars program, which I'll be honest, I completely forgot I was signed up to until this information came out.
I don't think I was ever signed up to that, I'm going to be honest.
They gave you like these digital collectibles for a bunch of games you played around release, but that was it. The novelty wore off pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't think I ever signed up for that.
So it was digital collectibles and missions to earn gold to put towards stuff. But you also get the gold buying digital copies of games, which is where I got a lot of my points from.
Yeah,
and it's how I was able to afford Oblivion for free.
Yeah, I got a load of points saved up. I should probably spend that soon. When did they say it was going out?
It's ending November next year.
November next year, they're ending it.
But I say just spend them when you can.
Spend them when you can, yeah.
Just in case it goes down early.
Yeah.
It feels a bit like PlayStation Home.
No, it reminds me because a game did that last year. They got rid of their point system.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, which pissed me off because I was paying for Game Elite, and I had like 200 quid's worth of points saved up.
Oh.
Yeah, I got Tekken 8 for free.
Yeah, no,
I was using that for the new for when the Switch 2 came out.
Yeah, no, it was annoying, that one, especially considering a bunch of their shops are being shut down. Like the one in Liverpool is going down next month.
They're not just being shut. Yeah, and the ones that are still around are being merged into fucking Sports Direct.
Yeah, I don't want to go to Sports Direct to buy my games. I think the one in Cheshire Oaks is still around.
Pretty much the only reason I go in a game now, I'm going to be honest, is to look at the magic cards.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I go into a game...
Without birthday presents.
But that is the thing. Even with the physical games, I'm buying way more of those online than I am in stores.
Yeah. I mean, hell, with my local one, they stopped doing click and collect.
But the other
thing,
I
can't pre-order online now and just go into the store and pick it up. Now I have to have it delivered.
But even in the Sports Direct in my hometown, I don't believe there's a game in there. So it's not as if I can buy that, which means I'm stuck with CEX. And basically, Mike, and put it this way, and I'm a little reluctant to buy from them at the minute, to be honest, because my cousin let me in on some information about some of their stock, which I'm not going to say on the record because I don't want to get sued.
Save it till afterwards.
Yeah, I'll save it till afterwards. But it made me reluctant to want to buy. I do still buy a few things from them because it's one of the only ways I can buy something and get it on the day without going digital.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's one I'm wondering though. This to me feels like another one of these. It was a good idea in theory, but it didn't work out in practice.
Yeah, from what I've heard, no one ever really used it.
I think we were all kind of worried when it first came out that the digital collectives were going to be NFTs.
Yeah. And
they turned out not to be, thankfully.
Yeah.
But I think that's all. As soon as we found out they weren't going to be NFTs, and we were all breathed a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
No one was really that interested in it.
Yeah, because it's pretty much me who just use it because I mostly game on the PS5 for my reviews.
Yeah, I do a lot of PS5 games.
I'm mostly PC. At the minute.
Yeah.
Like you're really only bringing out the PS5 for your PlayStation exclusives, I believe, Elliot.
Yeah, it's either if it's exclusive to PS5 or if I'm not able to preload it onto Steam.
Okay, I see. Right. So it reminds me a lot of PlayStation Home in that sense of it's a good idea, but it's not quite executed properly.
Mm.
Like, I don't remember. Did that ever come to Europe in the end? Because I distinctly remember it being hyped as all hell, but when it finally came out, no one cared.
I don't think it did, or at least I don't remember it doing.
Because it was the last thing that Phil Harrison did before he went to Xbox.
I mean, it would be kind of awkward if it never came to UK, seeing as it was done by London Studio.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, it was another one of London Studios' works, yes. That is one of the shame shutdowns for me, because they made the iToy games, and those were really good.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so... and here's another...
It was released in open beta.
Okay. Yeah, because Phil was...
It's just open beta, not a finalized product.
In 2008, and it remained in perpetual beta until it was shut down in 2015.
Basically, what happened is, from what I gathered from my end of things, is that Phil Harrison was like the big lead behind it, and as soon as he left to go to Xbox, there was no one that wanted to take it on. Probably similar thing that's going to happen with that. It's probably the same thing that's going to happen with that live service heist game that Jade Raymond was working on, and she's now left the studio that she was working on. That's another thing that happened in PlayStation.
I do not remember that.
No,
I don't.
They started a state of play with it, or a PlayStation experience. Like, it's that one that her studio, Haven Studios, she started it. I think it was called like Money Talks or something like that.
Oh, wait, is that the Payday clone?
Yeah, the Payday clone that she was working on. She's now left the studio that she's working on, and she's and I feel like that one is so up in the air about what's happening with that.
Yeah.
But actually, you're not far off with Phil Harrison, because if he's on touch with anything, it goes to shit. Because the only good thing I really noticed that he's done is that he actually got Xbox through the Red Ring of Death scenario.
I thought you were going to say the only good thing he's done was leaving PlayStation.
No, yeah, but everything he touches turns to crap. Like, he's in charge of PlayStation when they're going into PlayStation 3 and mishandles that appallingly. He gets one thing right at Xbox and then handles that appallingly. And then he starts up Google Stadia, and look at what happened with that. Anything this guy touches turns to crap.
So like us then.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, he's made more money than us, so frankly, who's laughing now? Yeah, exactly.
So what you say is actually a Robin then?
Well, it's a bit. Look, let's be honest and say we can all criticize at this point, but at the end of the day, he has made a lot of money, and I will give him credit. The idea of giving people warranties with the Red Ring of Death probably saved that company from completely collapsing.
Yeah.
Like, if the Red Ring of Death had not been handled much better, it would have been the end of Xbox, and PlayStation would have had a massive monopoly.
Yeah.
Going forwards, like, can you imagine how much worse the PlayStation 3 might have been if they had no competition?
Oh God.
$700 at launch.
So I feel like that's the PlayStation news out of the way, because we also added of James Raymond leaving Haven Studios, which, I mean, it doesn't bother me too much because I wasn't that interested in the game she was working on.
Yeah.
So we move into late breaking news. We have A24's Elden Ring movie has a director now attached to it.
Yeah. They have Bandai Namco to actually no, I think it was last night release a statement saying that that is being written and directed by Alex Garland,
co-writer of 28 Days Later and director of Ex Machina, and recently Civil War. He directed Civil War as well.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Seems interesting.
Yeah, I think he'll be a very interesting choice to direct that movie. What do you guys think of his previous work?
I have not seen any of it.
You've not seen Ex Machina?
No.
Oh, that was a great film.
Really great film. It's a pre-Star Wars Oscar Isaacs and Donald Gleason in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Alicia Vikander giving one of her best performances.
Look, you need to remember, I don't watch that many movies. Nowadays, the only movies I really see are the ones I see in the cinema. That's it.
The best way I would describe Ex Machina is it's a big budget indie film.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's basically.
Yeah, I've heard it was a really good film.
Yeah, it's basically it's more closer to a live action Ghost in the Shell than the actual live action Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, because I've just checked Rotten Tomatoes. It's 92 critics, 86 audience. So it's all quite liked.
Yeah. I will stress though, that a good director can make a bad film if they have enough studio interference.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, for example, Tim Burton, he's a very good director. He's made bad films.
Yeah, a number of them.
4. He's made 4 bad films. Alice in Wonderland, Planet of the Apes, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Dumbo.
I'd say Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is okay. You're missing one though.
Which one?
Through the Looking Glass.
He didn't direct that.
Oh, did not?
No. He didn't direct that. The guy who did the first Muppets film directed that one. He's only a producer on that film.
I
don't think that. I think he was just an executive producer. Yeah, Through the Looking Glass is terrible.
Yeah.
One of the worst Sacha Baron Cohen performances, and I like Sacha Baron Cohen. But other than that, I mean, I did see Alex Garland's last film. I did see Civil War, and I quite liked that one. Because he actually did a very good job with that film of saying, we are going to make the politics a bit vague in this one, so that way it's really emphasized of just how out of hand division can make people go.
Yeah. Especially because of the certain subset of the internet really wanted it to be more political.
Yeah, they definitely wanted it to be more political than it was, and I actually think it made it better by by really making it a bit more vague.
Okay, you know what? Dream scenario. Who would your ideal director for Elden Ring be?
Well, if it wasn't Alex Garland...
Yeah, if it weren't him.
Well, I would have... Prior to seeing Borderlands, I would have said Eli Roth, but I've now seen that. But honestly, Guillermo del Toro...
Oh.
Yeah. I think he would do a fantastic job with a Elden Ring storyline, especially considering that he did. He's very good at adapting source material, as we saw with Hellboy.
Yeah,
I'd say Peter Jackson personally.
I would be interested to see what Jackson would do with Elden Ring.
Just entirely just because of Lord of the Rings.
Reese.
Well, I was actually the parent you kind of go with Guillermo del Toro, who was my original choice.
Oh, so
because he does such a good job with fantasy films, as we saw with Hellboy 1 and then Golden Army. Also Pan's Labyrinth with the horror elements.
Yeah, but and also he's very good at portraying sympathetic monsters with Shape of Water.
Yeah.
Which is his best film. I'm not gonna lie. I think Shape of Water is his best movie.
And it also means when it comes time for the Rykard fight, there's an actual chance a Jaeger could just drop in.
Here's one I've actually thought though. Who would you cast to play Melania?
James Corden.
Oh no.
Alan Carr.
I actually, on a serious thought, I had a couple of thoughts in mind. It depends what sort of. I was sort of thinking a couple of ideas, but I thought of who would you get a good actress who would be able to perform it and have the mask on the whole time. So I thought of people like maybe Tilda Swinton, or a couple of other options like that. But I actually think someone who would look like the Ral and wouldn't have to do too much with the CGI was Karen Gillan.
Yep.
AKA Amy Pond from Doctor Who and Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ah, yeah, that would work really well, actually.
Because she's got the natural red hair for so they wouldn't have to change that. Yeah. You probably would have to make her look a lot taller because she's quite a short actress.
Yeah.
Because she's shorter than, I believe she's shorter than Matt Smith, for example. I'm pretty sure he was taller than her in most shots.
I think they could make it work with a small actor. I think they can make it work with her being small.
Yeah,
especially because she has prosthetic feet anyway with her Melania.
And that's another thing that might come out about this film. It will be, do we need to get an actor who actually does...
Oh, you said Melania. I thought you meant Melina.
No, Melania, yeah. So considering that, you'd have it'd be interesting, though, because the debate would come up again. Should you get an actor who is already wearing prosthetics to play that role?
Mm-hmm.
My personal dream for Elden Ring, though, is to make it a prequel to the game. Tell the story of Queen Marika and Radagon, and still the build up to the fall of the lands between.
So this prequel would be, okay, you've seen how things got fucked. You've seen that things have got fucked.
It with the shattering of the Elden Ring.
Yeah. So you've seen how things got fucked up. Now we're going to show you how things got fucked up.
Yeah.
I think they'd have to consult George R.R. Martin a bit on this because he was a lot of the world building came from him. He created a lot of the story of how things got fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, Martin seems to be working a lot on projects other than Song of Ice and Fire at this point. So,
of course,
there's he had a great. Do you ever see his cameo in John Oliver's program?
No.
They did a thing where there was like pointing out with we can pander to the audience without doing something dangerous. So said, I'll just cut to I'm just going to cut to a random VT of George R.R. Martin. Hey, and he just turns to the camera and says, I just killed off 3 of your favourite characters. What? And then he just cuts off the call. Okay, so we're agreeing.
No, what would be even funny is if he rung George R. R. Martin and it was just snoring on the other end.
George, wake up! You need to write something. I'll do it tomorrow.
Jon Snow fucks the dragon.
Do you know the newsreader? Actually, there's one last anecdote on this one because it just come to my head. And you know the newsreader Jon Snow on Channel 4.
Yeah.
He actually he saw across the room the real. He saw Kit Harington, and he yelled out to him, "Kit Harington, you know nothing." And Kit's response was, "Bastard." So I do like. That's just a great anecdote I really like. So that's it for this week.
This month. We're not doing it again next week.
No, but next week we are going to be back with Anime Amigos. But the Professional is going to be a bit different next month because we are going to do a normal one in like the second week to promote. We're going to talk about Elden Ring, Night Rain, a couple of the other games that are coming out around the next couple of weeks, and we're going to give our thoughts on Summer Games Fest and Xbox Showcase. But we are going to be one thing that is going to be absent is our thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2 games, because we are going to do an extra Professional next month just about the Switch 2.
One of them will probably be in person.
Yes, so I will stress that one. So I will stress, if you're wondering why we're not going to talk about Mario Kart World, that's the reason why. We're saving that for the next one. The one which is going to be like Nintendo Switch 2 weeks after we got it. How are we feeling about the console? What do we think about the various games? Yeah, so it's turning into an early impressions, not a first impressions. Yes, exactly. And I think we all agreed we needed a bit more. This is a new console. We need a bit more time with this before we give our thoughts on it. So we'll save our opinions on Mario Kart World for that one. Yeah. So, I mean, a bunch of great games to talk about. I'm really looking forward to talking about Elden Ring Night Rain with you guys.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun.
And of course, there's a couple more releases coming out in that time period. We'll be able to talk about.
There are.
I'm actually double checking now. I've said that. I think Mario Kart World is the only other thing.
We have other. I mean, for me, it's just that, it's just Elden Ring and Switch games.
Yeah, no. So we're going to talk about Elden Ring Night Rain, and we'll give our thoughts. And we'll give a bit. If we only have much to talk about, we'll give an extended thoughts on Summer Games Fest and the Xbox Showcase.
Yeah.
Oh, which, by the way, the Xbox Showcase, first time ever, is going to be showing Nintendo and PlayStation logos under games that are coming to those systems.
Yay!
So
Xbox has nothing themselves to show off.
So get ready to see us talk about wank and diet wank.
Oh God, no! I really hope Xbox pulls it out for this one because they need something.
Oh my!
And on that note, we're going to say thank you all for joining us. We'll be back We'll be back next week for Anime Amigos. A couple of weeks for Professional. Goodbye, everyone.
Watch me play Liza P. I swear, unlike Calvin, I'm good.
He is. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.